Hello. Hey. So, welcome and Happy New Year to you. We are going to be talking today about just some of the books I read in 2021 and some recommendations for you if you're looking for books on just your inspiration, productivity, and that kind of thing. I also want to start with a little bit of just kind of housekeeping, as well as wishing everybody a really, really happy 2022. I hope everybody had a nice and meaningful celebration, and I hope that this time of year has been nice and inspiring and getting you motivated to think of what you want to shape 2022 into, and that you've taken some time to reflect. And I hope you had a great 2021 and are excited for the new year. So I'm excited for the new year, and I want to update you on a few things that will be coming your way with the Successful Writer Academy and our Patreon and things like that. We're now over 150 episodes into the Successful Writer podcast. So if you haven't if you haven't dived into our backlist there, hopefully you'll find some good inspiration and tips to help you with your marketing, your mindset, your productivity. Those kind of turn into the 3 tenets that we talk about. In Patreon, we're going to be adding some new things. So we have our bi-monthly Patreon webinars, and those are for people who have signed up at the $25 a month or up level. You get to go live with me twice a month covering different marketing topics. Upcoming, we're going to have some trainings on dictation, on hitting your word count stretch goals. We'll probably be diving pretty soon into email marketing and maybe making like a mini series on that, because there's so much that we can talk to about that. So that is for our Patreon members at patreon.com/writingcave. And also at the 50 a month level, we've added and it's tweaked a few perks. So you're going to get a 50% off coupon to any of the Successful Writer courses. And we're also going to be taking a lot of our exclusive marketing training videos and making sure that you have access to that. So those are things where you'll get more in-depth how-tos, walking through the ads dashboards and things like that. Another thing I'm really excited about coming up for Successful Writers, I want to do more charity sales, so hopefully you'll be hearing more about those too. So, without any more ado, I just want to share with you some of my reading recommendations from last year. So, in no specific order, one of the books that I found most memorable that I read last year is called Burnout. It's by two sisters, Emily and Amelia Nagoski, and they talk about ending the stress cycle is how they approach burnout. So, honestly, I feel like a better title for the book would have been something like how to cope with chronic stress, because you don't need to be specifically in burnout to appreciate the book. One of the things they talk about is the impact that chronic stress has on basically every area of your life. But not only that, then they give you really good tips about how to complete the stress cycle, is how they talk about it. And so the idea is that like stress comes and we should be able to integrate that stress and then cope and recover from that stress. And the example they use is, let's say you are a kind of prehistoric caveman and the woolly mammoth charges at you, or the saber-toothed tiger charges at you, and you have to run away or fight it, and that's a stressful experience. And then you get to safety, or you slay the monster that's after you, and you have some kind of celebration, right? You roast it over the campfire, or you go home and you tell your family and friends about this close call you had. And part of what I think our culture has not done, that I think they did a great job bringing up in this book, is closing the stress cycle, right? And so it's that idea of dancing around the campfire because you had a successful hunt, or going back and telling your family about your narrow escape. One of the things that they recommend is the easiest way to kind of close the stress cycle and kind of just finish the stress is exercise. That can be a really good one, because when you're in exercise, your body is able to handle all of those stress hormones like it should. And then when you're done exercising, your body knows, okay, the danger is over, the stress is over. Another thing they talked about if you really hate exercising is even just like tensing and then letting go of things as a way to, like, for example, let's say you're really really mad because Amazon just sent you a nasty gram because they think that you are trying to circumvent their KU rules and you know you aren't. Okay. So you could just stew on it, but let's think about ways that we can try to complete that stress cycle. So one of them would be, doing something vigorous so that by the time you're done doing that vigorous activity, the stress has had a place to kind of be put to work, right? The other option, if you're limited in how you can exercise, or you just absolutely hate exercise, is you kind of tense everything up and you say to yourself, like, I am so mad at Amazon. And then as you release that, you can kind of allow that stress to move through you. So what I appreciated about it is it wasn't a book about how to avoid stress, because that's not very realistic or practical or helpful. And so really it was this way of just kind of, once you get into the stressful situation, how to complete that stress cycle. So that book again was Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski, that I really recommend. It is written more specifically to women. So they even have a chapter about how different types of sexism and things can increase our experience of stress. So keep that in mind. I think that if you were a man, you might get something out of it, but you might also be like, okay, I just got recommended this book that's apparently just for women. Another one that I read that I kind of avoided for quite a while. I read The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Most people are familiar with this, by Marie Kondo, talking about tidying and keeping a tidy house. But it was a lot more than that. And it really surprised me in how much more there was to it. So I read it because we were getting ready to move and I didn't want to bring all the clutter with me. And I wanted to kind of set up our new home in a way where the clutter wasn't just going to accumulate more. And I think that part of the move for me was also a desire to live, not, I don't want to call it a minimalist lifestyle because that's not quite what it is, but a more deliberate lifestyle. I don't want to have things just because we've always had them. I don't want to hold on to this windbreaker that's 10 years old and has never been worn because one day I might decide I want a windbreaker, right? And so from a practical level, I appreciated the tips and tricks and the way to know if you should hold on to something or to get rid of something. It's become pretty common in pop culture, so you're probably familiar with her advice. You hold it in your hands and you ask yourself, does this give me joy? Does this spark joy? So from a practical standpoint, I appreciated that, but I think what I got more out of it was being more deliberate about things. And also she goes a little bit, I don't want to say overboard. I found it mildly amusing the way that she personified everything. Like she had it felt like an entire chapter about how your socks will be sad if you fold them the wrong way. And I don't ascribe to it in that sense. Like I don't believe that my socks are unhappy with me if I, treat them this way versus that way. But I actually really appreciated the way that she brought some anthropomorphisms into the things that we have and how we can be thankful for the things we have. Now, she goes so far as to be like, okay, here is a, what do I have here? Here is a Subway coupon that came in the mail. I am thankful that it came in the mail. And now I'm going to say, thank you for coming to me in the mail. And now I'm going to pitch you in the trash. Right? Like I don't take it quite to that extreme, but I loved the idea of like everything that you see expressing gratitude for it. And I liked how she was able to tie that into even the things that you get rid of, right? So let's see, right next to me, here's a journal that I finished just last night. I'm going to hold on to it, but let's say that 20 years from now, I'm looking at that journal. I'm like, I don't need this anymore. So what I can do is I can be like, I am so thankful for this journal from 2021. I'm so thankful for all the dreams that I was able to dream in it. I'm thankful for the inspiration that I got from it. And I am now able to let go. The journal has done what it was meant to do, right? She talked about holding on to gifts the same way too. Some people are really, really bad about holding on, like, okay, I got this as a gift 10 years ago, I need to keep it or it's going to hurt somebody's feelings. And she talked about the purpose of the gift was to make you happy at the moment. And if it served its purpose, then you are free to share it now with somebody else, to pass that on. And there was also the sense of like blessings flowing in and flowing out. So you don't want to become the dam that stops up all the blessings, right? And so this is how like repurposing things, taking things to gift stores, regifting, upcycling, all of these can tie into it. So I really liked that. And I saw a lot of applications even into like your daily schedule, right? You can take a lot of those same things and apply them to what you're doing with your day. Is it sparking joy? Is it something that you're doing just because somebody told you you should? Is it something you're doing because it worked well for you 2 years ago, but and you haven't, similar to the gift. Someone gave this to me 2 years ago and it made me so happy. So now I have to keep it. Same thing. I started doing this thing in my writing business 2 years ago and it worked then. So now I have to keep doing it. Sometimes it's really nice to take everything on your to-do list and be like, okay, what if there was nothing on the calendar? What would I choose to add back in? Like when we moved, it was really, really useful. I could be like, do I want to bring this into my new home or not? And we kind of get a chance to do that with our calendar. Do I want to bring this activity into my new year or not? So it was better than I expected, and it spoke to me about things that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting more about just here's some practical tips for making your house less cluttered than it can sometimes tends to get. And what it's turned into was being more mindful and deliberate about what you invite into your life and being more free to pass things along, right? So let's say you have been doing BookBub feature deals for your entire career. And now you're looking at it and you're like, you don't like the ups and downs. You don't like, you get a big sales spike, but then, the next day your sales are back to nothing, or you're paying a lot of money and you're not sure anymore if it's worth your while, but you've been doing it for so long. So you feel like you've got to just keep doing it. So it's a good time to be more deliberate. Maybe this is an activity that served you well 2 years ago, and you can kind of be thankful for it. You can thank it and be like, okay, thanks that BookBub ads got me to where I was, or thanks that BookBub feature deals got me to where I was. And now I am free to no longer like require those for my marketing, and that opens you up to new opportunities that you might not have thought of, right? In the same way that getting rid of half your clothes in your closet or half the things in your kitchen, it makes room for more things to come to you, and you can be more deliberate about what you allow in. The last book I want to share with you is called Finding Your Own North Star by Martha Beck. And this one's really good about listening to your intuition for guidance. That's kind of the biggest takeaway that I got from it. She has a lot of exercises that she will walk you through that help you to listen more to your body, to hear some of so it's kind of, she talks about the way that your intuition speaks to you through your body, through tensing up or feeling open and spacious. And she walks you through different exercises. One of the exercises I really liked was to help you kind of discern when your body is saying yes and when your body is saying no. And the idea is to learn what yes feels like is you picture like every single dream of yours has come to pass. So you get to work with the people you love the most. You have all the money in the world and then some. You get to live where you are happiest living. You get to wear the clothes you most want to wear. You get to eat the foods you most want to eat. You get to pursue the hobbies and passions that you most want to pursue. And you think about that. You kind of daydream about that kind of life, and you picture and become aware of what's happening in your body. Does it feel, for me, it's like a very expansive feeling kind of in my chest and shoulders. It's like an opening up feeling. And so then when you are confronted with a decision, should I make a switch and start writing in this genre or not? You can almost pay attention and ask yourself, is my body giving me those same kinds of feelings? Or the opposite is hearing when your body is saying no. And so she says, okay, imagine working with the person that grates you the most, doing the kind of work that you would hate the most. So for me as an author, that might mean like, imagine having to write like the exact same, like one specific trope, and you have to write one book a week, and you have to work with this editor that's really, really nitpicky, that you don't like, and like all the things that you hate, that's what you do day in and day out. Pay attention as you think about that to how that feels. So for me, it's kind of a clenching, like in my gut. I feel like, kind of like it's getting hot and clenched and tight. And so then when you're faced with a decision, do I want to sign up to go to this writer retreat, even though it's it's a big expense, or even though I'm not sure about traveling at this time right now. Pay attention to what your body is telling you. Now, I feel like we can take input from all kinds of places, right? It's not just listening to your intuition, but that can be part of it. You can listen to your intuition, you can listen to your logic. We have all of these tools that will help us. So that was in Finding Your Own North Star by Martha Beck. So anybody who's trying to tap a little bit more into their intuition, it's one I for sure recommend. So I think that's going to be it for the day. You might be hearing my dog whining in the background. So she's ready for me to be done too. But I do wish you an amazing new year. And I hope that all of your dreams inspire you and fill you with so much motivation. And I hope that it's a great year for all of us.